a problem given, right? So you have to find out the principal stress, maximum shear stress, and their inclinations, their planes. That is the angles you have to find out. So very simple. How to find major principal stress, sigma 1, major principal stress, sigma 1. What is the formula? Sigma x plus sigma y by 2 plus root of sigma x plus sigma y by 2. Sorry. Sigma x minus sigma y by 2 whole square plus tau square. So this is the formula. Okay, is it clear? Is it visible?
Yes.
Okay. So sigma x, sigma y data is given in the question. Sigma x is given. See, I am considering this coordinates. X, I'm taking this as x coordinate, this as y coordinate. Okay. So for me, the x coordinate is tensile. So sigma x positive tensile, sigma y negative because it is compressive. See the direction? It is compressive stress. Minus 40 Newton per millimeter square. Compressive. Okay, so if we substitute that here, 60 minus 40 by 2 plus root of will be minus will be plus, and tau is also given. Tau is 10 Newton per millimeter square. Okay, what equation will you get? 60 minus 40 is 20 by 2, 10. This will be 10. This will be 100 by 2. Okay, 100 by 2 means 50 square plus 10 square. This will be 20. Can you tell me the answer? Sigma 1, how much will you get? Quickly calculate and tell me the answer.
So why is 40 plus in the
No. This is negative. Sigma y minus
sir, in the rule per
inside
the
the root.
screen is blurred.
Okay. See, what you know, it is minus, right? Minus of minus means it will be plus.
Okay.
So it is like 60 minus of minus 40 by 2. So answer
60.99, sir.
60.99 is the correct answer. Similarly, you find out sigma 2, minor principal stress. Sigma 2, that is sigma x plus sigma y by 2.
Minus 40.9.
Yeah, correct. Minus sigma x minus sigma y by 2 whole square plus tau square. So you will get it as minus 40.99, which shows that the principal stress in direction 2, second direction, is negative in nature, that is compressive. So in bracket you write down it is compressive. Sigma 2 is compressive in nature because the sign we got it as minus. Okay. So next they have asked maximum shear stress. Okay, what is the formula for maximum shear stress? See, in this principal stress equation itself, the second portion is maximum shear stress. Okay, so tau max is root of sigma x minus sigma y by 2 whole square plus tau square. Okay, so this is the formula for maximum shear stress. Is it okay? Can you calculate and tell me what is the answer for this? Sigma x minus sigma y by 2 plus tau square. It is
50.9.
50.9, correct? Yeah, 50.99. Okay. So next, here they have asked what are the inclinations of the plane, isn't it? The question. In the question they have asked you sketch the planes. Also they have told you yeah, maximum shear stress and their planes. Okay, they have also calculated phi. So we know that principal stress sigma 1 and sigma 2, sigma 1 and sigma 2 is obtained by rotating this 2D stress plane by an angle theta p. Okay, and they are mutually perpendicular. So first find theta p. And how can you find theta p? Tan 2 theta p is equals to 2 tau upon sigma x minus sigma y. Okay. So once you calculate theta p, you can just add 90 degree to find out the angle of the sigma 2. So 2 theta p is 2 into, sorry, tan inverse 2 into tau. Tau is 10, sigma x is 60 minus or minus 40. So 2 theta p will be tan inverse of, what is the answer? Tan inverse of, this is to find the inclinations, finding inclinations or angles of the principal stress planes.
The final
Yeah, final value of theta p
5.65.
5.65, correct, very good, degree. So if you take this as theta p1, okay, theta p1, then theta p2 will be theta p1 plus 90 degree. Okay, so here you can see in the sketch theta p1 is here plus 90 degree, you will get the angle of second stress. Okay, principal stress. So you make a plus 90 degree, means it will be 95.665 degrees. Okay, so this is the solution for this question. Is it clear? Finding sigma 1, sigma 2, very simple. Just this formula you have to remember. Sigma x plus sigma y by 2 plus or minus root of sigma x minus sigma y by 2 whole square plus tau square. So this will be plus or minus here. Sigma x and sigma y, you have to see from the question whether it is tensile in nature or compressive. Depending on that, you have to take the sign conventions. Tau also will be there. Okay. If tau is not there, you consider it as 0. Okay. In question, if they have not given tau, and consider it as 0. Then tau max equation is this. Again, no need to separately remember this because the second portion of this video got stuck. Okay. Second portion of this itself is the maximum shear stress. Okay. So very easy. So then find out the inclinations. Find out the inclinations. Tan 2 theta p is 2 tau by sigma x minus sigma y. So from that you will get theta p. At 90 degree, you will get the angle of another. That is it. Maximum shear stress means automatically the angle at this theta p will be at this here the theta p will be 45 degrees, that you know, right? So automatically when you take theta p as 45 degrees, you will get the maximum shear stress. So no need to mention again that, okay, because it's understood that theta p here will be 45 degrees. At this angle, you'll get the maximum shear. Always it is the same. So I hope you understood the different categories of problems. Okay, so there are four types of problems you can get in this. First is uniaxial, correct? So just by looking at the figure and the question, you should understand that first category is uniaxial. Uniaxial. So uniaxial is how stress will be only in one direction, either x or y direction. So for this, you know the formula sigma n and sigma t. So second category, then they'll give an oblique plane theta. Okay, oblique plane theta. And using that, you have to calculate sigma n and sigma t. Second is biaxial without shear. Biaxial system without shear. So in this, the figure will be like this. So stress or the force will be in two directions, sigma x and sigma y. Now there will be an oblique plane theta. There is no shear in this case. So then you have to find out sigma n and sigma t. Corresponding formulas are there. Because stress is acting in two directions, there will be a resultant stress also. Okay, sigma n, sigma t, and sigma r. So three things will be there. Next, same with the shear. Okay, biaxial stress system with the shear. Okay, then what happens? Same system. There will be one shear component. Sigma x, sigma y will be there, depending on the direction, whether compressive or tensile, with the shear. So then oblique plane, if it is given, if it's asked to calculate normal stress and tangential stress and the resultant stress, all these things we know. Then fourth category is principal stresses. Okay, same question will be asked, but now oblique plane will not be there. Okay, in this case, only sigma x, sigma y, and tau will be there. Three components: sigma x, sigma y, and tau. Tau. Okay, so this is the system. Oblique plane is not there in this case because we are going to calculate the principal stresses. So principal stress equations and its angles you have to find out. Principal stress equation sigma 1 and sigma 2 just now you solved. Okay. Is it okay? The four category of problems you can get in this. Is this okay?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. So next, an interesting topic. Just we'll go just see the introduction to this. It is pressure vessels. So why we are studying this compound stresses in two directions, you will understand now. Pressure vessels. You know what are pressure vessels? Pressure vessels. Can you give an example for a pressure vessel, which you see daily in your life? Daily example.
Cooker.
Yeah, cooker. Very good. Cooker is there. Cylinder, gas cylinders up there. So example, cookers, pressure cookers, gas cylinders. These are all commercial, so domestic. There are also industrial type of gas pressure vessels like boilers or something. Okay, so cylinders. Okay, under this pressure vessels, okay, there are two types. Pressure vessels. There are two types. One is thin cylinder. Thin cylinder. So all these are cylinders, okay? Thin cylinder. You know what is a cylinder, correct? Thick cylinder. Thin cylinders and thick cylinders, okay? So pressure vessels are of two categories, thin cylinders and thick cylinders. So what is thin and thick cylinders? Thin cylinder. Thin cylinders are those cylinders in which the thickness, okay, thickness, thickness. If you consider a small t as a thickness, okay, thickness of the cylinder, thickness of the cylinder is less than 20th part, okay, that is less than the 20th part, 20th parts of diameter d, okay. Is it okay? Thickness will be if you divide the diameter of this cylinder. Okay, so for example, in general, this is cylinder, correct? Oh, in CAD, you have seen right? Cylindrical objects. Okay. Basically, it is a hollow cylinder, so there is space inside to fill the pressurized fluid. So thickness is T, diameter is D. So if you divide the diameter into 20 parts, okay, if you divide the diameter into 20 parts, T should be even less than that. That means thickness should be less than d upon 20. Okay, so we divided the diameter into 20 parts. Thickness should be less than, even less than this. So this becomes a thin cylinder. What if the thickness is greater than this? Then it becomes a thick cylinder. Then we call it as a thick cylinder. So in this T by D ratio will be less than 1 by 20. Here T upon D ratio will be greater than 1 by 20. Is it okay? Is this concept clear?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. Pressure vessels will be divided into two categories, thin and thick cylinders. Thin cylinder means its thickness, no thickness, shell thickness, what we call here. Okay, the thickness here, T, should be less than D upon 20. So D would be the, not the outer diameter, it would be the inner diameter. So D here is the internal diameter. T is the thickness of the cylinder in mm. D is the internal diameter of the cylinder in mm. Okay, so inner diameter is small d and thickness is t. T should be less than d upon 20, or t upon d should be less than 1 by 20. Thickness is comparatively very small when you compare the thickness to diameter ratio. Okay, if it is greater than that, then it becomes a thick cylinder. So some more points you just note down here. Thin cylinders are subjected to internal pressure. Okay. Thin cylinders are subjected to thin cylinders are subjected to internal pressure. Thin cylinders are write down. These are some points to remember regarding. Yeah, we are discussing. We'll discuss thin cylinder. Then we'll see the questions for thick cylinder. We'll see the stresses in both the cases. So we are interested in finding out the stresses. Okay, because we should design the cylinder, means we should know what is the internal pressure. So for this much amount of internal pressure, the cylinder should not fail, correct? So say for example your gas in the kitchen, the gas pressure should be right enough, or the cylinder thickness or the cylinder design should be right enough to hold the pressure of the gas inside. So you have to design this particular cylinder in such a way that it does not occur failure. Okay. For that reason, you should know what are the stresses which are coming inside this, which will lead to failure of this particular cylinder. If you know that, then it is easy for you to design a cylinder. Okay, so that it will hold the pressure of gas pressures inside. Okay, for that reason, you should study the stresses which are occurring inside the cylinder. So internal pressure. So internal pressure. So thickness of the cylinder. Thickness of cylinder should be sufficient enough. Sufficient to withstand internal pressure, or resist, we call it. Internal pressure, withstand the internal pressure or resist the internal pressure. Resist the internal pressure. So your design should be very perfect in this cylinder so that it can resist the internal pressure. So whenever you are trying to resist the internal pressure, what happens? Stresses will be there. So stress definition is that itself, correct? So stress means what? It is resisting the deformation, or it is resisting the pressure inside. The thickness should be sufficiently enough, or design should be sufficiently proper, so that failure doesn't occur or the internal pressure is resisted, right? So let us see the stresses in cylinder. Next, write down stresses in thin cylinder. Okay, thin cylinder. Stresses in thin cylinder. So there can be two type of stresses, okay, in thin cylinder. One is circumferential stress. Circumferential stress. Also, we call it as hoop stress. The second is longitudinal stress. Longitudinal stress. Is it okay? Why there are two types of stresses? Can you tell? Yeah. This is cylinder, correct? Why there will be stresses in two directions? It is fluid, correct? So it is. Am I audible? Hello?
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Due to internal pressure.
Yeah, due to internal pressure. See, the fluid inside can exert pressure in any direction like this. So basically, it will be in two directions. See, if you consider one element like this here, okay, so that can exert pressure radially. Okay, that can exert pressure radially, like if you consider a plane like this in radial direction. So if it exerts pressure in radial direction, means it can exert pressure in all this inner circumferential surface, isn't it? And it can exert pressure in top and bottom direction. Okay, so either it can exert pressure and try to break this in top and bottom direction, or it can try to break the cylinder in x direction. So if I consider this radial direction as x direction, so in both x and y direction, the pressurized fluid inside can try to break this cylinder. So that's why there will be stresses in circumferential direction. Okay, all these are circumferential direction, radial direction, or longitudinal direction. So this is longitudinal along the axis. Okay, is this clear? That is why there are stresses in two directions. If you consider element like this, so this is a fluid element. So it can have circumferential stress, or it can have longitudinal stress. So this circumferential stress can break the specimen into two parts like this. Okay, is it correct? So it can break the cylinder into two parts. See, this concept is interesting. Okay, so this is the thickness, okay, small t. This is the internal diameter. So this is failure due to stress in longitudinal direction. This is failure due to stress in circumferential direction. We call this as hoop stress. This was longitudinal stress. So resistance to this failure, we call it as longitudinal stress. So circumferential stress sigma h is given by PD upon 2t. Okay. Small p, small d by 2 into t. Okay, thickness. Longitudinal stress sigma L is given by small p into small d by 4 upon t. Sorry, 4 into t. PD by 4t. So what you can note here, see this sigma h and sigma L, circumferential stress and longitudinal stress, both look similar. Okay, formula. So what is the difference here? This is 2, this is 4. That means what? Hoop stress is twice of longitudinal stress, correct? So hoop stress is more compared to your longitudinal stress because it is 2 times the longitudinal stress. Formula itself says. Have you noted down this formula and this? Have you noted down the formula? All of you?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. Okay, answer your attendance. Ashish? Ashish?
Present, sir.
Gagan?
Present, sir.
Gangadhar?
Present, sir.
Govind? Okay. Likith?
Present, sir.
Mohammed Shahir?
Present, sir.
Navneet?
Present, sir.
Why you are not regular, Navneet? What is the issue?
Daily irregular, but some network problems, sir.
That's no problem. Okay, you have to inform, okay, or else you're absent.
Sir, today I am informed in WhatsApp.
Okay. See that DHI I'll update, then like you'll get the attendance percentage. Probably just go through that, okay, because there might be some shortage.
Regular in class.
Be regular, okay. Then
Yes, sir.
Dhanush, where is Dhanush? He just entered. Left. Okay. Gangadhar is here.
Yes, sir. Present, sir.
So this is the next half of the module. Okay, this pressure vessels. So thin and thick cylinders will have to solve some problems. Right. So we'll see that in the next class, tomorrow's second hour class. Okay. Yeah, these are the equations, direct equations, simple problems. You can get it from this. Okay. So quickly, I want to tell one more thing. All of you are listening, right?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
See, after you come to the physical class, the offline class, then there is a subject called as computer-aided machine drawings, for which I will only be handling probably. Okay, so then we have very short time to complete it, right? So within maybe 1 month, we have to complete the whole subject. Right. So it'll be a tedious job. So I think I will start the theory before even actually you come to the class. Okay. So we'll get a 1 week time, and that how much theory portions I can complete, I will try to do that. And when you come to the class, we'll directly go to the lab itself. Okay. So you have to work more on the 3D modeling and software. Okay, because that is 60% of the marks. Okay, 40% is theory in that. So within this week, I might take some special classes. Okay, not as per your timetable. So timetable is not set for you. It's not in effect. It will be in effect from 17th itself. So prior to that, I will try to finish maybe 2 modules of theory, so that it will be easy for us later. Okay, maybe 2 hours class a day. I've made a separate group for that. Have we all joined?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. Fine then. I'll end this meeting. Thank you.